We now go by video link to Bob Blackman.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I am pleased to make a contribution on this very long, complex and a very deeply important bill. Obviously, the ambition of this bill is to put communities before crime. And the omnibus of reforms that are in this piece of legislation will undoubtedly make our country a much safer place to live, work and play. And I commend my colleagues from the Home Office and the Ministry of Justice for their deep commitment to the safety and security of our citizens. It's quite right that we are considering extending whole life orders for the premeditated murder of a child, as well as ending the automatic early release of dangerous criminals. In fact, by extending that position and increasing the tariff by which people will serve their prison sentence, we are more than exceeding many of the principles that are laid out in amendments before the House this evening. One of the concerns I have about putting minimum sentences in for particular offences is that there is a risk that the judiciary may interpret those as being not only the minimum, but possibly the guidance and the maximum sentence that should be applied. It is right that violent criminals should be punished and retained in prison for the duration of their sentences. Equally, it's right that if they attack prison warders or any other servant in their prisons, then their right to automatic release should end. And I think it's vitally important that we do so. I support my right honourable friend, the member for Chingford and Woodbury, on pet theft and the proposals that he's made. As he quite rightly said during the debate earlier on, the proposals may not be perfect, but quite clearly the position now is that gangs and unscrupulous individuals are robbing people of their pets and subjecting them to misery. That cannot be acceptable in any shape or form. We've got to have legislation on the statute books, and I realise that we're going to have obviously the output from the Pet Theft Task Force, and I trust that my honourable friend on the front bench will, in the reply, will ensure that we actually produce that in a suitable amendment in the House of Lords before this bill returns to the Commons to consider the various different amendments. It's quite clear as well that we've got to protect the people that serve us in the public sector. So when we are talking about particularly violence against women, it's absolutely right that we protect women who've been raped, give them the opportunity not only for their day in court, but ensuring that the perpetrators of rape are brought to justice and imprisoned for a considerable length of time. I am concerned that the proposals from the opposition front bench appear to potentially water down the requirements for rape sentences to fit the crime. And I trust that we will resist those, particularly when we come to the position of dealing with the amendments at the end. I have already said, Madam Deputy Speaker, about my concern about the attacks on retail workers. I trust that in the Lords, we will look at suitable amendments to assist the retail workers and make sure they're been protected. I realise that's not in this particular group of amendments, Madam Deputy Speaker, but I do think the commitments made from the front bench need to be honoured when we get to the House of Lords and considering further. So I support strongly the aim of this bill, and I trust that it will make our country safer and more secure for every individual that obeys the law in this country. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.